Alright, back to Phoenix Wright. He's attorney. Spirit of justice. This one. The magical turnabout. We're at the very start of the trial. We'd only just finished the investigation. To briefly review the case, Trucy is on trial for murder because during a magic show, something went wrong and the person she was working with turned up dead. It appeared that she had stabbed him through the coffin that he was in. Thought she was stabbing an empty coffin with a rubber sword, and they're like, "No, you stabbed a coffin with him in it," and it was a real sword. And then a thing fell on him. We found out... it wouldn't hurt to go over all this. Attorney's badge, that's the important one. Stage diagram shows how the trick actually works. She was in the coffin, opens a hatch, goes down a ladder, then steps on a thing that raises up. I forget what they're called. There was a problem during the show, and she had to go up the other one. We know from overhearing conversations that Bunny Girl and Robert Downey Jr. are in on it in some way, that they actually hate Trucy, and we're trying to sabotage the show in some way, although it's not 100% sure that they intended for this guy to die. Harness for a stunt wire. On the top of the coffin, there were unknown fingerprints. Fire bucket that had never been filled with water. Bonnie's script. Turns into Dragon Trucy's hack trick. Bonnie's interpretation. And Mr. Rias's fire trick, which would have required water, but they didn't bother to fill the bucket. Possibly because they knew that he would be dead. So, like, what's the point of getting water? We get water for a dead guy. Don't know why this is going to matter, that we have this poster. For some reason, the Grammari Creed, a true entertainer always keeps a smile on their face, is going to become relevant. This is the contract, which we know that Trucy did not actually sign. She signed something else, and it was carbon paper underneath in order to put her signature on this performance contract. Trucy moved the stage lifts to cover for Bonnie's mistake. She told no one about this. Okay, that'll be important. Sword stand contains the rubber sword that Trucy says she swapped in for the trick. Stage lift, that's what she had to move so that she could get up to the stage when she was told, hey, it was somehow communicated to her, oh, there was a problem with the trick. I moved the puppet to the wrong side of the stage. A disc with a recording. Okay, and that's got the video on it. We'll have to point something out in there someday. Yes. I'm Daijobu. I'm Apollo Justice, and I'm Daijobu. Is Apollo okay? He's been muttering to himself all morning. He's been like that since yesterday. Guess the pressure of today's trial is getting to him. Poor Polly. He's really tearing himself up over all this. Get it together, Apollo. Yikes, Athena. When did you get here? Try to relax a little bit, will you? You're getting yourself way too worked up. Yeah, but I'm Daijobu. You know, I did a little digging on this Nayuda Sadmati guy. That's right, we have a new prosecutor that we've never seen before. He's apparently not your run-of-the-mill prosecutor. He doesn't even use a whip or an electric guitar in his lawyer attacks. Oh yeah? What did you find out? Well, they say he wields... Okay. He was about to wield one of those things. It wasn't a whip or a guitar, though. An incredible power to accurately read a trial's karma and its ultimate fate. What's that supposed to mean? I don't have all the details, but apparently he can foresee how the arguments will go and even lead his opposition. So the defense basically ends up going in whatever direction he has in his head. It's a lame power compared to a whip. Man, this isn't going to be a cakewalk if that's true. Emma did say she'd talk to him for us, though. Here's hoping that went well. In any case, it sounds like he's going to keep us on our toes. That's why I know you're ready. Oh no, this is Sadmati. He already knows that we're ready. No, it's Phoenix. That's why I know you're ready. Why I know I can leave Trucy in the office to you. I believe in you, Apollo. Mr. Wright is putting his faith in me. I can't let him down now. I'm Daijobu. Scream it! There he goes again. It's almost like he's chanting a prayer. I'm Daijobu. I'm Apollo Justice, and I'm Daijobu. If you say so, Apollo. The trial will start momentarily. Is the defense ready? Yes! We're Daijobu. Trucy's fate and the fate of the agency rest on this trial. This is it, Justice. If there was ever a time to shine, it's now. Day 1. What makes you think it's going to be more than one day? Open and shut case. Court is now in session for the trial of Trucy Wright. The defense is ready, Your Honor. I already sense your presence. The test is over. And the prosecution? Prosecutor Sadmati. 1,000 pardons. It was rude of me to keep you waiting. I was praying for the victim. Oh, praying. Yes, I see. You're a Kurainist monk, correct, prosecutor? Yes, that is correct. I am but a lowly monk from the kingdom of Kurain. I beg in advance for the forgiveness and kind patience of everyone here in this court. I am unfamiliar with the proceedings of this country and may make many blunders. This is reasonable for a prosecutor of a murder trial. He seems like such a gentle-mannered soul, doesn't he? Still more or less still Christmas. Objection. It's not still Christmas. It's the 26th. Hello, Serp. Merry Christmas to you, too. I'm sorry for missing yet another stream. I was supposed to stream on Monday because I wouldn't be streaming Tuesday. And, you know, circumstances. Part of it, I think, is that maybe I don't actually like this game that much. Just because, I mean, if I liked it more, I think that I would try harder to make absolutely sure that I didn't miss any streams. Like if I was streaming The Witness or something. It's Daijobu. It's not missing 3 streams in 3 weeks. That's... but I think part of it is that I might not be enjoying this game as much because it's so similar to... Like, because we're playing it so soon after Dual Destinies, and because it's so similar. Because, like... Apollo Justice was one of the DS games, like, where it was still all sprites and everything. Like, from there to Edgeworth to Investigations was a very different art style and different gameplay style like different a lot of things. And then from there to Professor Layton Phoenix Wright was, again, very different art style, very different format to the game. And then from there to Dual Destinies was, okay, it's, again, a very different art style. Kind of similar to the old, but, you know, still pretty new. Whereas this just seems like more Dual Destinies. It's all the same, mostly the same. I will do that. It's coming soon. This kind of just seems like I'm still playing Dual Destinies. Because so far it's very much the same. It's the same models, the same interface. Like nothing is different. So it just feels like Dual Destinies is dragging on. Also because I played it fairly recently instead of having years in between. That and I don't know. Like I'm still gonna continue playing through it and probably have a good old time. But we'll see. I wonder if Emma had a chance to talk with him about Trucy. Now then, Prosecutor Sadmati, your opening statement, if you would. Certainly. In the name of the Holy Mother, I vow to guide the victim's soul to a land of eternal peace known as the Twilight Realm. Now, let the last rites of the victim begin. Nayuda Sadmati. He's really been making a name for himself, apparently. How has he been doing that if he's unfamiliar with the court? Is this not his first trial that he's prosecuted in our country? Didn't he just say it was? That nickname, Last Rites Prosecutor. I wonder how that will come into play today. The incident took place in the middle of a spectacular magic show. The accused performed a magic trick in which she thrust a sword into a coffin. A coffin from which the body of the victim then spilled out, dead from a fatal stabbing. The victim's name was Manov Mistry. First time we've heard his real name, otherwise known as the Great Mysterious. A big old family shebang. Cool. Very nice. I slept. Man of mystery. His blood. See, you can't be that drunk. You're still on your pun game. His blood was found on the sword that was used during the magic trick. So his death was just an unfortunate accident? Not guilty. Next case. It is only natural for one to assume as such, Your Honor. However, it was no mere accident, but rather a homicide. The prosecution's position is thus that this was a murder made to look like an accident. I see. And you believe this crime was committed by the defendant? After a thorough consideration of all possible scenarios, I, unfortunately, had no other choice but to conclude as much. So that's how it's going to be, huh? He's going to think that my client did it. I guess Emma couldn't convince him after all. Very well. And now let us hear from the defense. Naturally, we maintain that the defendant is innocent, Your Honor. If the defense wouldn't mind, could you please explain your reasoning? My reasoning? Well, I would have to say that my main reason is because I believe in the defendant. You are fired. What kind of... That's like one micro step above. I would have to say my main reason is because, come on, he didn't do it. I see. So you find it difficult to come up with anything more concrete than that, do you? What a fine demonstration of the fact that you are indeed a lawyer of putrid mind. Putrid mind? Prosecutor Sadmati? Excuse me, but sorry? If you don't mind my asking, prosecutor, what the fuck was that? What was that you were just chanting? A sutra of the Holy Mother that guides those of tainted soul toward enlightenment. It is a Qur'anist incantation to awaken the foolish from their fruitless slumber. Fitting. For a second, because I guess that's his theme now in the back. For a second, it sounded like Godot's theme, the hot coffee. What's the name of it? The Secret of Hot Coffee, or whatever it's called. Fitting for a lawyer who indulges in such fancy as the innocence of the accused. I see. So basically, you're asking the defense to get real. Allow me these few words, defense. It is my duty as a monk to punish sinners, and to guide victims' souls to the twilight realm. Should you show repentance and admit to the accused's guilt now, no harm will come to you other than being disbarred, because you're not allowed to do that. You can't just say, my guy actually did do it. But, should you interfere with my sacred last rites for the victim, then I shall cast you down into the pit of hell along with Trucy Wright. The fragrance of dark coffee. That's what it's called. And it does sound at least that one little do-do-dee-do-do, it sounded like it. Now, wait just 1 minute here. Putrid, pit of hell, is that any way to address someone in a court of law? You should be whipping me. Or playing a guitar, at least. Prosecutor Sadmati, that may be the way you conduct trials in Qur'an. But I would appreciate it if you would refrain from such charged language here. Your Honor, that was but a Qur'anist sermon for those who have strayed from the path. Harsh words are often necessary to admonish contemptible deviants who cannot see reason. Oh, I see. I didn't realize. I guess they really do hate defense attorneys in Qur'an, huh? Even still, that was way, way over the top as far as verbal abuse goes. And the trial's only just begun. Uh-oh. Sound, why are you? Well, okay, hold on. Can I... Oh wait, is it already fixed? I think it is. Well, defense, I suppose the way a prosecutor does things varies by country. Why don't we look at this as cross-cultural exchange and try to be open-minded about it? What? Bailiff, please bring in the first witness. Uh-oh. I thought she'd said goodbye to the snackoos. These are actually Carinto. I looked it up. Detective Sky, the courtroom is no place for gorging yourself. What's wrong with having a little snack? Girls gotta eat, right? She, seems a little stressed out. Detective Sky, your testimony, please. Yeah, about that. I just want to state for the record that I believe Trucy Wright is innocent. Objection. You're not allowed to say that as an expert witness. Come on. Also, you don't have to say I state for the record. Everything is being recorded. Look, it's in the log. It's right there. I'm sorry? Detective Sky, this path you seek to follow is misguided. Giving the wrongdoer false hope will only deepen her despair in the end. But let it go and move on. Acts which go against your duty will earn you divine punishment from the Holy Mother. Fine. I don't know about the divine part, but I get the punishment bit loud and clear. I guess Emma got assigned tons of paperwork or something for sticking up for Trucy. She and Prosecutor Sabmati don't seem to get along very well, do they? Shall we continue? The prosecution contends that the accused had a clear motive. The evidence, if you would, Detective Sky. All right. Please, take a look at this poster. This guy got canceled. It's a Troop Grammari poster from 13 years ago. Isn't my poster also from 13 years ago? Is there anything important covered up by the word canceled? His little swoopy. Yep, I guess that's the only thing that's covered, so it will be important. Is it just me, or is it a little different from the one in Ms. Wright's dressing room? This is a revised version of that poster. This one says canceled under Mr. Rias. That's right. Mr. Rias left the troupe after the first version of the poster was printed. Take a look at Mr. Rias' right forearm, near his elbow. See the big scar there? Didn't he have the big... or maybe not. No, he did. Yeah, he totally did. See the big scar there? He apparently got that when he made a mistake while practicing a magic trick. Ouch, that's quite the scar. Because of the accident, Magnifi Grammari concluded Mr. Rias was too unskilled. Just before the show was to open, Magnifi announced Mr. Rias wouldn't be appearing. But in defiance of Mr. Rias's decision, Magnifi's decision, Mr. Rias tried to go on stage anyway. This, in turn, called Magnifi to oust Mr. Rias from the troupe on the spot. He kicked Mr. Rias out. That seems rather extreme. Did he really have to go that far? When it came to magic, Troupe Grammari was so passionate, or should I say extreme, about it, that it caused problems for them from time to time. Yes, they even accused this court, caused this court a mountain of trouble with their extreme antics. What? And now the troupe's successor has committed a murder. It seems the troupe's rare talent was inherited by the right person after all. A putrid talent for criminality. You sound rather extreme yourself, prosecutor. Criminals with impure souls do not deserve sympathy, Your Honor. As I was saying, after his expulsion, Mr. Rias apparently went on to hold a grudge against the troupe. He would tell those close to him, I will get my revenge on Troupe Grammari someday. Revenge, That certainly sounds antagonistic. Do I have both posters now? I do not. Alright, so the covered up thing, not actually important. Because it's gone now. And then his chance for revenge finally came. If you would be so kind, Detective Sky. I guess I don't have a choice, do I? The victim planned to get his revenge on Troupe Grammari during Trucy's magic show. Mr. Rias was going to first steal the Grammari notebook from the defendant. He then intended to reveal the secrets behind their magic tricks during the show. That was the victim's plan for revenge. And while he did, in fact, steal the notebook, the defendant murdered him before he had a chance to reveal the secrets. Curious. By the time the accused had discovered the notebook's theft, it was too late. Her only option was to kill Mysterious and make it look like an accident. That's nothing but conjecture. Sustained.
Objection.
No. The victim's assistant, Bonnie DeFam, gave the police a statement. She testified that just before the start of the show, Mysterious said, "I'm going to reveal all of Troupe Grammari's secrets on stage today." What? Well, that isn't exactly a great starting point for a rebuttal, is it? Objection. Heresy. I mean, heresy. The other one. Hearsay. You're telling me. Allow me to give you one piece of advice, defense. Don't listen to it! We're playing right into his hand. Oh, and what's that? He's a witch. Let it go and move on. Excuse me? Helping a sinner will only sully your own soul. One possessed of an unclean soul will burn in the flames of hell, and then be ever burdened with that sin in their next life. But I don't believe in that sort of thing. Besides, I have no intention of giving up. Oh, Holy Mother, grant me the strength to deal with this putrid lawyer. All actions have consequences, and yours will surely earn you the honor of being a mere stink bug at best in your next life. A stink bug? Now then, Mr. Justice, your cross-examination, please. Did we always... I thought we were back to a... It's been a meter for a while. Are we back to badges now? I guess we're back to badges now. Revenge after all this time. It's been 13 years already. Why now? I know, right? I thought that was pretty sketchy myself. I mean... Satora is what he's saying? Sure, why not? Wasn't it soul thingies in the last case? What was the last case even? I've already forgotten. Oh! I don't remember. I'll go back and check someday. I know, right? I mean, wouldn't he have done it a long time ago if he was going to do it? After all, Satora. Detective Sky, self-indulgent outbursts such as those will earn you divine punishment in the form of a salary evaluation. Eep. Wait, that's what divine punishment means? Let the detective have her snack. This humble servant of the Holy Mother shall explain. Over a decade ago, Troupe Grammari was at the height of their popularity. But then, their reputation declined, and they had all but faded from public memory. He's drifting. I don't think he was ever in India, but he's definitely drifting towards Russia now. I'm trying for generic mysterious accent. But the Ruskies are getting to him. Until recently, that it... Yeah, wow. Did you hear that? Did you hear that, comrade? Until recently, that is, when Trucy Wright sought to recapture their former glory. The defendant? And at such a young age, too. How impressive. Yes, the accused's skill at magic is undeniably impressive. If she hadn't fallen onto the path of sin, she would have had a bright future ahead of her. It's always sad to see such promising young potential go to waste. Now then, Detective Sky, how did Mr. Rias plan to get his revenge? And please, put down the snackoos before you continue with your testimony. Yes, Your Honor. Don't know how that's going to matter.
Hold it!
What evidence do you have that Mr. Rias actually stole the notebook? Well, you see, whenever you're ready, Detective. Fret not, Detective Sky. You have nothing to repent for. You should be proud of the fine forensic discovery that you made. Forensic discovery? What did she discover, forensically? Detective Sky identified a certain set of fingerprints on the notebook. Upon further inspection, she determined that they belonged to Mr. Rias. What? The detective found the fingerprints entirely of her own volition. For that, I must say well done, Detective Sky. Irk. Get a little too addicted to using your precious white powder, did you, Emma? Now, Detective Sky, I would ask you to explain exactly how Mr. Rias intended to use the notebook to exact his revenge. Alright, well, first he stole the notebook. He then intended to reveal the secrets behind their magic tricks.
Hold it!
I'm going to reveal all of Troop Grammarai's secrets on stage today. That's what Mr. Rias himself said, right? Right, but he didn't exactly specify which Grammarai secrets he was talking about. But the prosecution thinks he was referring to the secrets behind Troop Grammarai's magic. Yes, that is the prosecution's assertion. When the accused realized that Mr. Rias was to reveal her family's most closely guarded secret, she naturally panicked. So basically, Trucy's notebook was hiding in Mr. Rias's things because he had stolen it himself? I see. Truly a motive that only a magician could have. Yes, that's what the prosecution believes anyway.
Hold it!
Not seeing anything to contradict yet. Do you really believe what you're saying, Detective Sky? Do you really think Ms. Wright killed Mr. Rias to stop him from getting his revenge? Also, why wouldn't he have done this at the live show instead of at the Generalprobe, where no one was watching, except it was, I guess, being recorded for TV? Like, that would have done nothing. He likes interrupting so that I can't actually read what they were saying. Of course I don't think that. The Trucy we know would never... Keep your private consideration separate from your public duty. I warned you about this very thing before the trial began, did I not, Detective Sky? Yes, you did. Please recite my exact words to you. Emma Sky, you are a detective first and foremost, not the accused's friend. Remember your duty and fulfill it faithfully. What a jerk. I can't believe... He's the worst. He's worse than Von Karma. Excellent. So you do remember what I said to you. Your devotion to your work will be rewarded, for the Holy Mother sees all. This Holy Mother is no scientific concept I've ever heard of. Those two really don't get along, do they? Well, science and religion go together about as well as oil and water. As I was saying, the defendant murdered him before he had the chance to reveal the secrets.
Hold it!
I'm sorry, but what exactly is the basis for claiming it was murder? Beats me. What? The basis is beats me? You'll have to ask Prosecutor Sadmati over there, because he hasn't told me his reasoning either. Detective Sky, your feeding of information to the defense has not gone unnoticed by my eyes. Ulp. The bad karma of acts which go against your duty will impinge upon you in the next life. But even before that, it may impinge upon your job in the form of a transfer. Ack! Please don't get me kicked out of the forensics unit. Anything but that. Poor Emma. She's really been risking everything for us. Well, Prosecutor Sadmati, what are your grounds for claiming homicide? It was the luminous tape in the understage passage. I realized that it had been moved. Moved so that Mr. Rios would climb up into the downstage coffin by mistake. What? Mr. Rios, who was waiting in the understage passage, was supposed to have used the upstage ladders shown here on the left. He was to climb up into the coffin that had been set up in the backstage area. After being turned into a stuffed dragon during Act 1, Mr. Rios was supposed to come back to life and emerge from that coffin. But the luminous tape had been moved to mark the downstage ladder. So the victim climbed up into the coffin on the stage itself by mistake. The very same coffin the accused thrust her sword into. And you have proof that it was my client who moved the tape? But of course. Detective Sky? Oh, that's right. I identified the defendant's fingerprints on the luminous tape. You what? He actually had proof? Well, defense, are you finally ready to let it all go and move on? Absolutely not. Detective, please add the information about the prints on the tape to your testimony. The defendant's prints were on the tape. I guess she must have moved it during the show.
Hold it!
What made you think to check the luminous tape for prints? Also, like, tape? Does the other side of tape hold fingerprints? I bet it was Detective's intuition. I dusted not just the tape, but just about everywhere for fingerprints. I mean, I get it that fingerprints in video games are magical. It's fine. I dusted pretty much every single surface in the theater. I mean, it was so nice to be able to dust for prints without anybody getting mad at me. Man. It's great that you're enthusiastic, Emma, but there is such a thing as too enthusiastic. The tape was moved to guide Mr. Rios into the coffin that was downstage. If that's true, it does sound like a murder rather than an accident. It certainly doesn't help that Trucy's prints are on the tape. Ugh. I wish I knew what sound would even be appropriate to make in this situation. Does Trucy wear gloves? How do I show that she wears gloves? Because she probably does, right? Trucy wore gloves during the show. They hid it in fingerprint analysis.
Objection!
I'm sorry, Detective Sky, but there's a flaw in your testimony. Oh, really? The prosecution is claiming that Ms. Wright moved the understage tape during the show in order to guide the victim into the coffin downstage, but it doesn't make sense that she would leave prints on the tape at that time. It doesn't? Please consider the fingerprinting results of the main coffin, which shows that not one of my client's fingerprints was found on or in it. That's true. We didn't find any of her prints on that coffin. I think you've realized what the flaw in your testimony is. Claiming Ms. Wright left prints on the tape during the show is inconsistent with the facts. Because she was wearing gloves during the show. Oh. She must have left the prints sometime before the show started. In other words, her prints do not prove that she moved the tape to mislead the victim. The prosecution's investigation was insufficient. Oh my. But on a personal level, I'm very happy about that. Well, Prosecutor Sadmati, if the defense's argument is true, then you have no evidence the defendant moved the tape to deceive the victim. I see. Apparently, the defense is more intelligent than I had thought. More than a stink bug, at any rate. Come on, you can bump me up to at least a stag beetle now, can't you? Would that really be any better? Of course, way better. Stag beetles are cool with those huge mandibles of theirs. Satora. If the defense wishes to be promoted to a stag beetle, then answer me this question. Alright, shoot. Even with no evidence that the accused moved the tape to misguide the victim, the victim still climbed the ladder using the tape as a guide, and entered the coffin on the stage. The accused then thrust her sword into said coffin with the victim in it. So what you're saying is the fact remains that the victim was stabbed to death, right? Precisely. However, this does drastically change one aspect of this case. If the accused did not lead the victim into the coffin on purpose, then it means the victim's death could have been accidental. If it was indeed an accident, the defense can argue that it was involuntary manslaughter. I see. If it was involuntary manslaughter, then they could plead extenuating circumstances. I'm not sure I understand how any of this works. And the severity of the crime could be mitigated. Somi is objecting. Somi objects. The court recognizes your objection and your tea or coffee. Defense, if you believe the accused did not murder the victim, then do you argue that it was an accident? This is it. The all-important question. So... It's still murder. It's somebody murdered him. Did you miss it? No, it's in 3 days. It's this coming Sunday, the 29th. Somebody else murdered him. The defense maintains that the defendant is entirely innocent. We believe that it wasn't an accident, but murder. And what's more, we believe it was committed by a third party. A third party? As in the true culprit is someone else? Cool. That will be starting at 7 p.m. Eastern sharp. And I guess I don't really have any way of accurately predicting when we'll actually hit 2,000. I'll be doing 12 instead of 20. Probably between 3 and 4 hours. Hard to say, though. Crazy busy, I see. You did. You guessed Copperbell Mines, I think. Although, you can register a second guess, too, if you want, right now. The bot is running. Also, I put in a random command, so if you don't know what to do for another one, you can do !2000 random. Because you can have more than one. That is quite a brazen... That is quite a brazen claim to make, and one wholly without grounds. Your voice is as loud as your suit, and your mind echoes just as loudly in emptiness. Surely, you were but a loud red pepper in your previous life. I've been demoted to a vegetable. Wow, I didn't know a person could be reincarnated as a non-sentient plant. In any case, I do have grounds to make this claim. Let us hear this reasoning of yours, then. Alright, but before I give it, there is one question that we need to address. If the victim was killed by some third party, then the sword the defendant thrust into the coffin wasn't the cause of death. If that's the case, then how did we wind up with a dead body inside the coffin? A very good question. Now, let's hear your opinion, Mr. Justice. Do I have any idea? This is one of those situations where I don't actually, like, I have a vague idea that the Bunny and Robert Downey Jr. are in on it, but I don't know for sure if they planned. You've never played any of them. The first ones are great to start with. They're actually very good games. I mean, there are a bunch of other games that cropped up because court case ridiculousness became a genre. Are we, I guess, going to say that he would, like, something to do with the stunt wire? If he was killed understage, there would have been blood. We don't have any evidence that there was blood in the understage area, do we? Some of his fingerprints are inside the coffin. So let's say he was alive. He was still alive when he was killed in the coffin. Yeah, he was alive at some point. I suppose the victim might have been killed inside the coffin. My badge is still throbbing. I think that means that I got it wrong. Exactly. And who was the one who thrust the sword into the coffin? It was Ms. Wright of Ack! Your Honor, it would appear the defense has finally given up. Please, render their verdict. Now, wait just a minute. I said might have been. I didn't say definitely was. Did you really think such verbal acrobatics would get you off the hook? Darn it. Oh, if only I could have stuck the landing better. Why don't you try again, defense? Fine, he was killed understage, I guess. What if the victim was killed under the stage before being put into the coffin? In other words, what if the victim was already dead in the coffin from the get-go? Oh, I see. In that case, the defendant's sword wouldn't have been the cause of death. How do you respond, Prosecutor Sadmati? That is the third time. The third time of what? Could you not? It's not allowed. What the heck is this? Ow, my head! What do you think you're doing? It's called assault. Place him under arrest. Even the merciful Holy Mother loses patience if she is struck 3 times. Since you never learn, you needed to be punished. Why don't you let me worry about what I need and don't need? It is what you deserve for interfering with my secret last rites for the victim. You are a brainless lawyer, chasing phantoms. You know nothing. Let this humble servant of the Holy Mother give you an edifying sermon. A sermon? Now? There is a passage in the sacred scriptures of Qur'anism. A cornered frog will swallow even a snake. Huh? A cornered lawyer has unexpectedly struck back hard against the prosecution. Did I get it right? No, for I am not done with my sermon. And yet the frog still dies, its belly bitten and torn from within. Just great. And in this case, you are that frog defense. What exactly is your point, anyway? Let us assume for a moment that the victim was killed under the stage. Who, then, had the opportunity to do so during the show? Let's see. The people in the show were Bonnie DeFemme, the victim, Mysterious, and Trucy Wright. Bonnie DeFemme was on stage throughout the entire show, as easily confirmed by the footage from the show. Which leaves us with only one suspect, Trucy Wright. Now do you see? The accused killed Mysterious as he waited on standby in the understage passage, and then placed his dead body in the coffin above, thus making the murder look like an accident. No! O great and merciful Holy Mother, thus another putrid mind has been guided toward enlightenment. Ugh. I can't believe I swallowed his trick question whole. Like a frog eating a snake.
Objection!
Sorry, but I have to raise an objection here. Athena? What are you... There's something I want to point out, Apollo. And who might you be? You strike me as a mere child in countenance. I may be young, but I have an attorney's badge just the same. And you would contribute to this discussion in that capacity? I most certainly would. You just argued that the defendant killed the victim under the stage, but let me remind you that Ms. Wright is a girl. Clearly. Surely you didn't raise an objection, surely, simply to point out such an obvious fact. Your Honor, please send for this little child's guardian to come take her home.
Hold it!
But I'm not done with my sermon. You don't need to talk like Prosecutor Satmati, you know. Listen, if the victim was killed in the understage passage, then his body would have to be hauled up to the stage, right? However, Ms. Wright is a young girl, and a pretty petite one at that. She couldn't possibly have hefted that large body up and put it in the coffin. That's true. It does seem like it would be a rather difficult task for the defendant. I don't think even I could do it. What do you think of that, prosecutor? Who's the child now? In my religion, the priestesses of Kurainism are revered as pillars of our beliefs. So I naturally hold nothing but deep respect for women. I also think highly of the female perspective. Says the man who called this fair maiden a little child. Who's a fair maiden? I agree that your point is worth discussing, defense. How, indeed, was the dead body raised up into the coffin? By the accused, Trucy Wright, that is. He's woke. You're committed to pointing the finger at her no matter what, huh? Then you explain how that'd even be possible. But of course. There was a way for even a small creature like her to raise the victim's body up. Huh? Wait! You really can explain it? I foresaw that our arguments would come to this, so I have prepared a witness. Well, well, I admire your readiness, prosecutor. It is really not that difficult when one can read the ultimate outcome of any trial. He couldn't have really predicted that things would turn out like this, could he? It's pretty hard to believe. Excuse me, but may I step down now? Yes, I suppose you may. One moment, Detective Sky. I'm sorry for, the way I handled all of this. You did a fine job, Detective. Your testimony was invaluable. It was? Yes. You served well as a detective and did not allow your personal feelings to interfere. You overcame the conflicted emotions that you felt and performed your duty admirably. You will be rewarded for your fine work. Oh. Thank you. I hope we can work together in the future. Emma seems bewildered by the unexpected praise. I guess he's a pretty nice person, like they say, as long as you're not up against him. Now then, let us call the next witness. Bunny? Yes. Witness, please state your name and occupation. Hello, ladies and gentlemen of the court. It's very nice to meet all of you. I'm lagomorphing illusionist from the land of fairy tales, Bunny de Femme. I can't wait to do some magic tricks for you, for all of you. Please, witness, there is a time and a place for all things, including magic. But it would be okay if I do just a little magic, right? Come on, please. Look, everybody's waiting. Now is my chance to shine. That is your second time. My second time doing what, Pion? There will be no further warnings. You should know that from our preparatory meeting, correct? Yep. Is no one exempt from His Holiness's rosary of suffering? I don't think it's a rosary. May we have your testimony, witness, once you've recovered from your disappointment. Well, as a huge fan of Trucy's, I don't really want to testify against her, but I guess I have to, don't I? As a huge fan of Trucy's, huh? I hate her. I loathe her. I can't stand that Trucy Wright. Just because she's a little good at magic, she thinks she's all that. So this is exactly what that sniveling brat deserves. Sure, you're a real fan, all right. Of destroying Trucy, you mean? Ooh, got him.